Title: Eye of the Storm by Ukiresh Azubike. Chapter 12: Salt and Starlight. The fortress of Tagaza shimmered like a mirage of death. Built entirely from blocks of salt, its walls glittered in the sun by day and bled silver beneath the moon. The air reeked of sweat, chains, and the salt tears of men. Inside its cavernous pits, hundreds of prisoners labored, hacking at the salt walls until their palms split and bled. Among them, bound and beaten, was Kezie. His wrists were raw, his body weak, but his eyes still burned with that strange, ancient light. He had not spoken for days. The other ones watched him in silence, their shapes half seen in the corners of the dark. They whispered to him of peace, of freedom, of power beyond pain. "You were born to walk between worlds," they hissed. "Why live like cattle among men? Their blood rots quickly. Their love fades. Come, and we will show you eternity without sorrow." Kezie's lips cracked as he whispered back, "Eternity without sorrow is a lie." They smiled from the shadows. So speaks the boy who will one day beg for silence. Above, as night draped its black cloth over the desert, two figures slipped through the fortress wall, silent as breath, cloaked in the color of dust. Imezi moved with the calm precision of one who had done this 1,000 times before. Beside her, Zara's pulse raced, her sword trembled in her hand. "Are you sure about this?" Zara whispered. "No," Imezi said simply, "but that's never stopped me before." They crept past sleeping guards, descending into the salt pits through a narrow stairway. The deeper they went, the colder it grew, until the air shimmered faintly with unseen energy. Zara stopped. "Do you feel that?" "Yes," Imezi whispered. "It's him." They found Kezie chained to the far wall, his head bowed, the air around him heavy with stillness. Imezi rushed to him, dropping to her knees. "Kezie!" His eyes opened slowly, and when he saw her for the first time in weeks, he smiled. "You came." "Of course I came," she breathed. "Did you think I'd let the world keep you?" A weak chuckle. "You always were stubborn." Zara knelt beside them, cutting through the ropes with trembling hands. "We need to move." But before they could rise, a low voice echoed through the cavern. "Running again, children of the storm?" They turned. Standing in the archway was Askia Muhammad Alawal, cloaked in white, flanked by his guards. Behind him, the other ones shimmered like heat, eyes glowing faintly, their smiles too calm. Askia's gaze was fierce, but not cruel. "You trespass in my fortress. Free my slaves and defy the will of Allah's army. Who are you?" Imezi straightened. "We are not your enemies." He studied her. "Then why do I see the mark of eternity on your skin?" "The mark is not a curse," she said, "unless you make it one." The other ones moved closer, their voices curling through the air. "Give her to us, Askia. She is not yours to question." Askia hesitated, torn between awe and fear. Are you jinn? Angels or demons sent to test me? Kezie stepped forward, though his legs wobbled. We are what the world makes of us. Enough, hissed one of the shadows. Your time among mortals is over. And the torches went out. The darkness came alive. Screams, light, fire. Imezi felt the air split as a wave of unseen energy crashed through the room. She grabbed Kezie's hand, shouting to Zara, "This way!" They ran through a storm of salt dust and echoing wails, bursting out into the open night. Flames licked the fortress walls. Shadows fled in every direction. When they finally stopped miles away, the desert was silent again, except for their ragged breathing. Zara collapsed to her knees. I thought we'd die in there. Imezi sank beside her, trembling. So did I. Kezie turned toward her, eyes hollow. They were calling me, Imezi. They said I belong with them. Imezi met his gaze. Maybe you do. Maybe we both do. But that's not the side we've chosen. The next morning, they found shelter under a rock overhang as the sun blazed above. For the first time since their escape, there was quiet. Zara turned to Imezi, her face resolute. You saved me twice now, from men and monsters alike. I will protect you with my life. Imezi frowned gently. Zara, no. Don't make oaths you don't understand. Then help me understand, Zara snapped, eyes glistening. Why do they fear you? Why do you never age? Who are you and Kezie, really? Imezi and Kezie exchanged a look that contained too many lifetimes. We are children of the storm, Imezi said softly. Born before memory, bound to the world through our Iiua. We do not die, but we do lose. Again and again, Zara shook her head, trying to take it in. That's impossible! Kezie smiled sadly. So is eternity. Yet here we are. But why? Zara pressed. Why would anyone want to live forever? Imezi looked up at the endless sky. It's not about wanting. It's about remembering. The world forgets its lessons, so we walk it again and again to remind it what it once knew. Zara fell silent for a long moment, staring into the dunes. Then what about me? I'm just mortal. What do I do in a world of gods and ghosts? Imezi reached out and took her hand. You live. You love. You ask questions. Zara laughed weakly. That part I'm good at. Kezie grinned. Too good. She turned to him. Then answer me this. What happens if your Iiua is destroyed? Both immortals fell quiet. After a while, Kezie said, Then we end. No rebirth, no memory, just silence. Zara nodded slowly. And yet, you still fight for mortals who forget you. Imezi smiled faintly. Because somewhere, in the forgetting, there's still hope. For days they journeyed westward toward the University of Sankore in Timbuktu, a city of scholars, kings, and whispered wonders. The roads were alive with pilgrims and merchants, griots and scribes.
Zara's curiosity was insatiable. Every sight was a question, every silence an invitation. "Do spirits love?" she asked one evening. "Some do," Imezi said, "but love costs them greatly." "Then why risk it?" "Because even the eternal need to feel human sometimes." Kezie chuckled. "You'll make a scholar of the scholars when we reach Timbuktu." Zara smiled. "Or drive them mad with my questions." Imezi laughed softly, the sound like sunlight through clouds. "That's what the wise are for."
By the time the golden minarets of Timbuktu appeared on the horizon, the trio had changed. Kezie's scars had faded, Imezi's eyes carried new fire, and Zara, mortal, curious, defiant, walked among them like the soul that tied the divine to the dust. As the wind swept through the sands, carrying the scent of ink and myrrh, Zara whispered to herself, "If gods walk among men, perhaps it is not to rule, but to experience what it means to be human." And as the sun sank behind the dunes, the children of the storm entered Timbuktu, unaware that the world was already stirring for its next great turning.